Shalom, everybody. Robert Steeman here. We just finished Psalms 23, and it was awesome. I very much enjoyed bringing those things to you. We're going to be starting another video series on Matthew chapter 7. The focus verses are going to be verses 21 through 23. I'm just going to read that to set the tempo here. Not everyone who says to me, Master, Master, shall enter into the reign of the heavens, but he who is doing the desire of my Father in the heavens. Many shall say to me in that day, Master, Master, have we not prophesied in your name, and cast out demons in your name, and done many mighty works in your name? And then I shall declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who work lawlessness. Okay, so I'm just going to be bringing, for this video, going to be bringing forth some observations that I observed within the context, not only these two verses, but the entirety of chapter 7. So first, there will be many claiming that Yeshua Messiah is to be their master. Okay, so let's go back to Exodus chapter 21, verses 5 and 6. And we see, and if a servant truly says, I love my master, my wife, and my children, let me not go free. And then in verse 6, it continues, and his master shall pierce his ear with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. So if you remember in that chapter, we see that the servant belongs to the master, and the master is the one that provides the servant with a wife. And therefore, the two know each other, and they, produce children, okay? So they technically belong to the master because the master is the one that gave the wife to the servant. So the servant, the wife, and the child belong to the master. But then when the servant's time of serving comes up and he has the option of staying with him forever or leaving and having that be totally agreed upon, this servant in particular is saying, no, I love my master, I love my wife, and I love my children, so I'm going to stay here and cling to you and serve you forever. And then the sign of that is an awl into the ear, something that signifies that this ear has been marked and has been set apart in order to hear the instructions of the master, in order to obey the master, okay? So in this context, we see how that fits in beautifully. The master is saying, not everyone who claims that they have their ears to hear my instructions is actually mine, okay? So let's keep going. Shall enter the reign of the heavens. Okay, only the one doing the desire of my Father in the heavens. Okay, people come to Yeshua and call him master, but it's actually the Father's desire in the heavens that he is examining. Okay, so here, this is not blasphemous whatsoever to say, but here we do not see that the desire of Yeshua himself, apart from the Father, is something that is going to be tested. But the master is going to examine those who claim that he is their master. Are you doing my Father's will? Are you doing the desire of my Father? As we see in John 13:13, ye call me master, Lord, and ye say, well, for so I am. So we do see that Yeshua indeed is master. Let's take a look at Romans 14:8 through 9. For whether we live unto the master. And whether we die unto the master. Whether we live, therefore, or die, we are the masters. And this is Paul speaking, okay? Someone who absolutely is set apart and has ears to hear. For to this end Messiah both died and rose and revived, that he might be master both of the dead and the living. The true ones, the true marked servants of Yeshua, are going to do his Father's desire. So John 6:38 says, for I have come down from heaven not to do my will, but to do the will of him who sent me. Who is the one that sent Yeshua? His daddy, okay? So the Father of all sent Yeshua, and Yeshua knew that he was coming to accomplish the will of the Father. And that's what we see here, okay? And I have down here as a note, that is where the playbook of the Father was given to Yeshua in the heavens. So what is the Father's desire? Let's read this again. Not everyone who says to be master, master shall enter into the reign of the heavens, but he who is doing the desire of my Father in the heavens. We're talking about entering into the kingdom of heaven, into the reign of the heavens. So it is super important to know, what is the Father's desire? So that we can be people who are doing the Father's desire. Not praying about it, not acknowledging that it exists, not thinking about it, right? That's Greco-Roman kind of stuff where it stays all up in here. But this and this should manifest outwardly into behavior, okay? So what are we to do? Recall Matthew 7:12 through 14. It says, therefore, whatever you wish men to do to you, do also to them. For this is the Torah and the prophets. Enter in through the narrow gate, because the gate is wide and the way is broad that leads to destruction, and there are many who enter through it. Because the gate is narrow and the way is hard pressed, which leads to life, and there are few who find it. So let's take a look at the gates real quick. We have the narrow gate, which is hard pressed, it leads to life, but few find it. Find it. And then we have the comparison to the other gate. We have it wide, we have it broad, destruction, and many enter it. There's not even a necessity to try and look for this wide gate because everybody is just entering. It's like highway to hell kind of thing, okay? But the narrow gate is even difficult to find. And then when you enter it, it's hard pressed, okay? So we're not talking about a path or a way of life that everybody is going to be attracted to because it's going to be difficult. It's going to require a level of submission to the master in order to stay on that narrow road, okay? And notice in verse 12, it says that what you do unto other people, right? Because you want that done unto yourself, that is the Torah and prophets. And in another place it says, summarizing, love God and love people as yourself, for this is the Torah and the prophets, okay? This is the trajectory of the Torah and the prophets. This is what the Torah and the prophets pointed to. So if we are to do this right here in verse 12, that is everything that the Torah and the prophets is written about. Could this be what is referring to here? In verse 21, but he who is doing the desire of my Father in the heavens. So many will say to him, and we see this many harshly rebuked. This many thought to be at the right path, on the right path, but did not realize the chosen path desired is narrow and difficult and hard pressed, difficult to find, okay? So let's go to Matthew 24. And if you remember Matthew 24, that is the snapshot of end times events, right? And how they take place. So in verse 5, we see, for many shall come in my name. Many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Messiah, and they shall lead many astray. Okay? Hold on to that. And then in verse 9, then they shall deliver you up to affliction and kill you. They will deliver you up to affliction and kill you. And you shall be hated by all nations for my sake. This is a snapshot of what it means to be on this narrow road. The majority of existence is going to hate you. They are going to afflict you. They are going to deliver you over to those who will virtually put you to death. Are you ready to be on this road? Am I ready to be on this road? We have to be asking ourselves this question. Are we ready to be on this narrow gate? Going through this narrow gate, going on this hard-pressed road that leads to life. The result is amazing. Everybody's about the result. But are we a focused people in order to do the things now in order to follow him, right? Refer back to Psalms 23. If you have not checked out those videos, please check those out. But our companion is going to lead us. But what is he going to lead us through? That's the question we all have to ask ourselves, okay? So I have a couple of examples here of what it's like to die now. So are you willing to not turn on the television and receive a true vision from the one enthroned above all? Are you ready to study to show yourself approved rather than memorizing NFL statistics? Are you ready to eat food that is actually food rather than munching on Little Debbie's? Are you ready to pray unceasingly rather than protesting you have the right to foster unforgiveness? Are you ready to submit and fall on your face before the Ancient of Days instead of deciding your every decision? as if you could save yourself, as if your righteousness is as clean, white, undefiled linen cloths found in the king's wardrobe. Are you ready to fix your gaze upon the face of brilliancy rather than the perversion put up on billboards, illustrated through phones and magazines? I rebuke pornography, by the way, in Yeshua's name, and all forms of sexual perversion in Yeshua's name. I have this here. If we cannot die now, and we cannot identify with his crucifixion now, day to day, how do you expect, how do I even expect? Because this is first for me, because I'm the one telling this, right? I gotta live it. So how do we expect to be able to identify the strong delusion that's coming, that will lead many astray, and to actually stand in front of a barrel of a death instrument and rejoice? It's sobering, y'all. This is sobering. This is on my heart today. But that's what I got. I'm not going to end on that. I'm going to go back to Matthew chapter 7 again. Let's read these words one more time for what we've covered. Not everyone who says to be master, master shall enter into the reign of the heavens, but he who is doing the desire of my Father in the heavens. The daddy of our Messiah has a desire, and it's a good one. The people of the world hate it, and they're going to hate you. But my goodness, his desire is so beautiful and so amazing. And he wants to be super close to you. So do not rebuke him. Do not quench his spirit. Do not push him away. Accept the fact that he wants you, and he wants to be infused with you, and he wants to put himself in you so that you can become him in this darkness, who desperately needs to see the light of the world. You are called the light of the world. Go back to Matthew 5. Let's check out Matthew 5 real quick. We'll end on that. Matthew 5. Let's see. Verses 14. You are the light of the world. It is impossible for a city to be hidden on a hill or on a mountain. Nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it shines to all those in the house. Let your light shine so before men, so that they see listen to this. So let's say they see your good works and praise your Father who is in the heavens. So yes, they're your works, but because you are the light, you are doing the desire of him who is in the heavens. Shalom for now.